Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. So, the date is January 6th, 2021. I've decided to uh, make more videos for my YouTube page. And since I'm getting ready to go on a journey, well, a journey that I've already been on for a while now, I decided to start with it. So, the current journey that I'm on is I'm sitting in the parking lot of the doctor's office, the Florida ENT and allergy, and most people don't know, but those that are close to me do know that for several years I have been losing my hearing. So after a couple attempts at getting hearing aids, which are mad expensive, and the hearing aids themselves are not really expensive, it's really the aftercare that you're paying for. But either way, a decent pair of hearing aids, about $4,000. Um, so I kind of put it off and put it off and put it off. I got really good at faking it, like really good at faking it. Um, I can read lips. And generally, people who knew that I had a hearing loss issue didn't have a problem repeating things when I asked them to repeat it. So I was putting off the whole issue of hearing aids and putting off the whole issue of hearing aids for quite some time now. I was diagnosed in 2007 with tinnitus, or ringing of the ears, which was probably caused by some damage, caused by whatever damage is going on the inside of my ears. But as I said, I've been good at reading lips and faking it, and making sure that I'm in close contact to a person when they're talking to me, making sure they're looking at me when they're talking to me. So, most people didn't really know that I had a hearing issue. And then in the last couple of years, it started getting worse. Things were becoming harder for me to hear, for me to understand speech. Sounds are not really an issue because I hate loud, but understanding the clarity of speech has become an issue for me here in the last couple years. So once again, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, I decided, you know what, let me just go ahead and get the hearing aids, whatever, whatever. And then I went and got another hearing test. My hearing had declined some since the previous test the year before. So I was going to go forth. Then the pandemic hit, and that slowed everything down. But I was still struggling to get a down payment for the hearing aids. But had a blessing bestowed upon me so that I could put the down payment on the hearing aids. And then I said, you know what, maybe I should check with the ENT first before spending $5,000 on some hearing aids, which I probably still would have spent anyway if that's what they would have recommended. But I went ahead and made an appointment with the ENT and the audiologist. Well, my hearing had gotten worse in the 10 months since I had my last audiogram at the end of 2019. My hearing had declined even more in 10 months. So instead of purchasing hearing aids, they recommended that I see the specialized ENT who specialized in cochlear implant. This began in October. I've had several audiograms, several special hearing tests, speech recognition tests. You name it, I've had it. I had an MRI, which I totally freaked out in, had to cancel the appointment, get a Valium, and go back. I've had a CAT scan. Everything in the CAT scan is normal. My brain is functioning normal. There are no masses or abnormalities. But they had to do that to make sure that everything looked good inside before they attempted to move forward with this surgery. So as the time has been passing since October, it's like, oh my God, surgery, a cochlear implant. Like, I didn't know that that was something that they did for just like regular people. I thought that there was like, special cases that, such as being born deaf or being completely deaf or whatever, because I do still have natural hearing. It's just not as good as it should be. So there has been some anxiety about this process that I didn't think that I would have, but I'm going to push forward. So here we are, move forward to January 6, 2021, after many tests and back and forth to the ENT and the audiologist. It has been decided that we will go forth with the cochlear implant. That surgery is scheduled for March. I'll have a few more appointments in between, and I'll continue to vlog leading up to that day. I definitely am excited at the possibility of having better hearing. It won't be 100%. I'll hear different than I currently hear, and it'll take my brain a little while to get used to the electronic stimulation of my cochlear, which is the inner ear. So I'm excited about that, but there is this certain anxiousness about surgery. I've had other surgery my whole life, and while the surgery itself was minor, just the experiences of the after anesthesia feeling I didn't really care for. But like I said, as we're moving forward, to me getting better hearing and not being socially isolated, because when you can't hear, you become depressed, you socially isolate, or even if you do attend social functions or around social people, you tend to withdraw from conversations because you can't follow the conversations. And like I said, how bad my hearing was, I didn't realize how bad it was until the pandemic hit, when everybody started wearing masks and my ability to read lips was no more. And now I'm like guessing at what people saying, or just pretending that I ain't hear them, or ask them to repeat it, or I'll put my headphones in so that way people are less likely to approach me for conversation. And with hearing loss, you over time, if not dealt with or treated properly, it can cause cognitive issues. It can cause balance issues or whatever. And I don't want that. And like I said, with people who are close to me and that know about my hearing loss, they just, if I say I didn't hear you, and they would just repeat it. But it makes people who are outside of that circle less likely to talk to me or speak to me, because they're tired of having to repeat things to me. So I totally get it. So while I'm not suffering from depression, I do sometimes feel the social isolation, especially in social settings such as eating dinner with friends or at a bar or whatever. I find myself more retreated or looking at Facebook on my phone because I can't really follow the conversations because everybody's wearing a mask or it's a lot of noise going on in the background. I would say work has become a little more difficult, but not as much as other things, because what I do for a living is pretty independent. I don't have to deal with a supervisor, minute by minute. Once I get my assignment, I hit the road. So that sometimes there is difficulty hearing children, but for the most part, children don't talk to me. They just get on the bus and have a seat. So that hasn't really been an issue. But having hearing loss and then realizing how bad your hearing loss is, it can bring you down and it can be frustrating. And, I know that for others it's frustrating because they have to keep repeating, but just know, for us people out here that can't hear, it's just as frustrating for us to have to constantly ask you to repeat something. So I'm just going to take y'all on this journey with me, my journey to better hearing. And that's it. So I'll be adding more videos as we go along, approaching the surgery date. I'll also be adding some other content I like to fish. You'll see me doing some fishing, some bowling, just doing regular everyday things. I'm not an expert fisherman, so it'll be like the regular chick fishing channel. But yeah, just stick with me through this process. And those of y'all are out there that know me, just know that I love you. And if it ever seemed like I wasn't listening, I probably just didn't hear you. So I invite you on this journey with me, the journey to better hearing. I love y'all. Pray for me. I'm going to pray for you. Bless up. Until the next time.